Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's been over 2 years since I think I've done a podcast or a live show, which quite frankly is unacceptable. And I apologise for that. It's been a long 2 years. We're here in America. I've experienced a lot of things. I've got some great yarns to tell and some good people to tell them with. Joining me today on the 26th episode of Words with Wheelsy, the good man, he looks like Eminem, Mitch Wilson, USA Eagle, New England Free Jack, Penrith Panthers diehard fan. Welcome into the show, Mitchy.
G'day, Wills. Thanks for having me in, mate. It's good to be here for your first in-person show and for the long-awaited return.
It's a historical moment, Mitchy, and I want to say a massive thanks to the Free Jacks, first of all, for helping put together the set, like massive TV, props, coffee, which we'll get to in a minute, and of course the big Joes, the beanbags. Like, I want to make sure the set's comfortable for my guests, and I'm happy I'm able to provide that today.
Yeah, it's a lot of comfort here. I'm quite lounging, actually. It's very nice.
You can easily get a good night's sleep on these things. First of all, Mitchy, I wanted to start off each show of Words with Wheelsy with a little bit of a preview on some New England delicacies, okay? And I thought cream of the crop, holy grail, had to be the Dunkin' iced coffee, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Before coming to America, all I heard about was you've got to try Dunkin'. The donuts are sublime. The iced coffee is to die for. I wasn't a heavy coffee drinker before coming to the States.
Yep.
You know, I'd grab the odd flat white from a cafe in New Zealand. But coming here, I went to a Dunkin' for the first time. Yeah, can I grab a large flat white? And they give me some rather puzzled looks, like, where is this guy from? And of course, they don't really do flat whites. But behold, they do the Dunkin' large iced coffee. And let's just pick this thing up, Mitchy. Like, the girth on this beverage, if we put it beside the face, like, have a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Like, huge beverage. And this is a large. Have a wee sip.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It is. It's not beneficial for your health.
Yes.
But it gets you through the day. A lot of caffeine, and it's addicting. I can comfortably say I probably have one of these a day. I don't know what your intake's like.
Yeah, I try and stay away from the Dunkin', but if I was to get one, it'd be just one a day, I guess.
Nice, good job. And the added bonus is you can add in all sorts of flavours, right? We've got butter pecan in this. Like, I don't even know what the heck butter pecan is.
4 pumps of butter pecan swirl. So.
Exactly. But there's all sorts. There's peppermint, there's mocha, there's caramel. I mean, limited options, but this is the New England delicacy that we're reviewing today. And of course, you've got the donuts as well. The vanilla sprinkle, which I won't give Mitch one, obviously, because he's a professional athlete, but I've got one for me and producer Buckley. We've got 3 of these. We'll have a wee bite. Oh, it's just so good. It's honestly.
Let's talk about that these are drinking all year round, so it could be negative 3 degrees.
Yes.
People are outside drinking their iced Dunkin'. It's a staple here in Boston, isn't it?
It's a wonderful point you make. Like, when there is snow on the ground, and I'm talking up to ankle level, I see your classic Massachusetts people roaming the streets with these in your hand.
Cam Davidowitz and family. No,
exactly. So this isn't a sponsored segment on the show at all by any stretch, but if they do want to sponsor the show, I'll be more than happy to talk about that post-show. But Dunkin' is what we're reviewing today. Again, massive thanks to all of you Massachusetts people out there for introducing me to Dunkin'. And it runs. Dunkin', what is it? America runs on Dunkin'.
Yeah.
That is the slogan. Massive shout out to producer Bucks as well. We'll get him to make some noise, studio audience. Yes, there he is. He's put all this together, the cameras, the audio. It really is a first-class setup, which I'm stoked about, and I'm glad to be back in front of the mic. Mitchy, we're going to start off with the elephant in the room that starts tomorrow, and that is the Rugby World Cup.
Correct, yes.
Heavily talked about. I don't want to go into too much detail and analyse the pools and all of that type of stuff because there's a lot of that out there already.
Yep.
I just want your overall thoughts on who's going to take it out and why.
Well, I don't have a team that's going to take it out per se, but I think it's quite an open World Cup this year, which is super exciting. You've got Ireland, France, who both look really dominant in the Northern Hemisphere, and then you've got New Zealand, South Africa. Want to throw in the Aussies in there.
Eddie Jones.
They definitely have a chance as well. So I think it's exciting. And then you look at the Pacific Islander teams. They're probably the most dominant they've ever been. coming into this World Cup, so that's also exciting. And then the likes of Portugal, Georgia, Romania have continued to improve over the last few years and hopefully go well this World Cup.
And you recently returned from a tour with USA where you played 2 teams that'll be participating in the World Cup, right?
Yeah, the Eagles played 3, but yeah,
3 rather, sorry.
2, yep.
Like, how did you find that, right? Obviously, USA isn't partaking in this edition of the World Cup, but you got to play 3 World Cup teams. Like, how did you feel those teams are faring heading into the World Cup in particular?
Well, yeah, obviously it's a big bummer for the US not to be in the World Cup. Same with Canada, just north of the border. But yeah, we had the opportunity to go play Romania, Portugal, and Georgia a few weeks ago, and first game was against Romania. We got a solid win. I think the final score was 30-17. Look, that was our first run out in over about 8 months. So it was good to see where we were at in compared to a team that had been in World Cup prep, and yeah, they were a good team. You know, actually had quite a few Islander boys on their team, made their way over from all the way to Romania, which is cool to see. And then in the second game we played Portugal, and they really showed us why they were in the World Cup versus us. They had a strong performance and beat us, I think, by a good 25 points. And then the third game was against Georgia, and they beat us as well, but it was a solid game and they were looking good. And I think, they've beaten some Tier 1 nations this past year, and I think they could be a dark horse in the World Cup.
And just quickly on the Eagles, this was your, I think, second or third time that you've been in camp with them and been a part of that national squad. What did you see was the biggest improvement or the vibe from that tour compared to other opportunities?
Yeah, I think because we did miss out on the World Cup, the coaches have been able to go into almost a new cycle, which has brought in a lot of energy, a lot of young guys coming through that are keen to express themselves, and very good players as well. I think we're all quite motivated. I think it is motivating seeing teams prepare for the World Cup when you fail to qualify. But again, I think just the energy of the group was probably the biggest improvement.
How good. It's going to be an exciting World Cup. Obviously, France, New Zealand kicks off tomorrow. This episode will probably be released post that, but really intrigued, as you said, to see how Portugal, Romania and Georgia go, and hopefully they can pull off those upsets that do happen at World Cups.
Yeah.
We saw Japan tipping up South Africa in 2015. I think Fiji are going to be a real, dark horse amongst the group.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be good, but as always, up the ABs. Yeah. I know you've probably got a foot in the Wallabies
100%.
and USA camp, but
2 feet in the Wallabies for this World Cup, mate. So
there we go. I mean, I'd love nothing more to see just a wee bit more pain inflicted on Eddie Jones.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Anyway, thanks for joining me on Words with Wheelsy. We've had some great guests on the show 2 years ago, which seems like light years ago. And the whole point of the show is to share your story, find out some things about your upbringing and how you got to where you are today, and have some laughs along the way, tell some yarns. And I wanted to cast your mind back to a little boy in Sydney. I've got some technical difficulties going in the background, but that's the thesis of live TV. We love it.
Yeah.
Tell me about what it was like growing up as a kid in Sydney, and where your love for rugby really started.
Yeah, so I grew up in Emu Plains in Western Sydney. I had three brothers, so 2 older brothers and 1 younger brother, and my dad played rugby, and we grew up playing rugby league and thoroughly enjoyed that. I think all my mates at school played rugby league, and my next door neighbour was playing rugby league, a couple of years older, so we'd play in the front yard every day almost, and really enjoyed myself. And the competition was good as well for even an 11, 12-year-old. You're playing good footy, but I think that really instilled me with the love of the game.
And quickly on rugby league, before we continue on, you've got your Penrith Panthers jersey on there, which is a delightful piece of vintage kit. And you're very much a man who loves your vintage wear.
Yes.
I remember first away trip last year, we went to Los Angeles, and you were stuck in the thrift shop for a long amount of time picking out little pieces. I've got a vintage Red Sox tee on today.
Yeah.
Panthers versus the Wars.
Yes.
The Vodafone Warriors, the One New Zealand Warriors this weekend. What do you see out of that game, just quickly? Obviously, you're a Penrith Panthers fan. You don't know too much probably about the two teams, but...
Yeah, well, firstly, Wheelsy, thanks for giving me this tarp here, man. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, bro.
A few weeks ago, I traded him a pair of shorts for a great jersey here.
With a broken zipper.
Yeah, definitely got shafted on that deal, but appreciate it, mate. Yeah, this weekend, look, I got to back the Panthers. Like, they've done it 2 years in a row. The year prior, they made it to the final and fell short. So I know there's a bit of speculation with Luai out, but I think they'll come through. And to your point, man, it's good to see the Warriors go well. And I think for Australians, it's like you can't really use it as an excuse anymore. Like you got New Zealand just does rugby. They've got a good rugby league team as well now, so it's exciting.
It's great. Like, I think they're the ultimate Cinderella story. Like, the Warriors have inflicted a lot of, I guess, emotional experiences on New Zealanders over the past 10 years. So top four, like, to turn that around drastically is pretty huge. So Sean Johnson's out, which will be a big loss, but they get another lifeline if they can't tip up your Cleary and the Panthers. But no, that's awesome, Mitchy. So rugby league played a big part of your upbringing. Do you see any part of your game now, like, the things that you took from rugby league sort of translate into your rugby union game now?
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to say so. In rugby league, I played like dummy half and 5'8" and halfback, so kind of that playmaker role. And I think in union, like, I don't know, like, you got it's less of a kicking game in league, so probably wouldn't be a 10, but like as an outside back, I still like to be involved in distributing and having that playmaker role, whether it's at fullback or even on the wing, getting off my wing and kind of making plays happen. But yeah, I think just good skills that you learn in both games anyway, that transferred over. So yeah.
Yeah, and we see a lot of rugby union teams now try and, I guess, focus a little bit of their attack on rugby league styles, like the different layers of attack. I know Ryan Martin, who was ex-coach of the Free Jacks, who you'll know well, he went over and spent time with the Melbourne Storm camp to learn, how they shape their attack. So it's interesting to see the similarities there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think you're seeing it now. Like, obviously, Eddie, people love him or hate him, but I think he's pulled over a few rugby league coaches. Yeah. Rugby League D coaches that are used to defending against those multiple layers of attack, and I think you've seen the way the game has changed over the past few years with the 50-22, with the goal line drop, and then just the way of the flow of the game. It's definitely, I think, taken a few points from rugby league.
That's great stuff. And Mitchy, you've found yourself on a beanbag in Boston, so obviously you didn't stick around Penrith in the Sydney region. Tell me about how it came to be that Boston or America was your place of calling.
Yeah, so when I was 16 years old, my family had a work opportunity with my dad's business to come over to America when I was 16, and at first I was a bit taken back and didn't want to move over, and had my friends, and I was playing footy in Oz, and was a little bit stubborn at first, and then kind of grew on me, the idea, and we ended up coming over anyway, so I didn't really have much of a choice, and moved to Florida, Orlando, Florida, and did a year and a half of high school down there, and played a little bit of rugby. And I think when I first found out they were moving to America, I was like, oh, they don't play rugby over there. Certainly don't play league anyway, but yeah, I couldn't start school right away, so I was able to kind of go out to rugby trainings and make a few friends that way, and honestly just fell in love with the game. And in Australia, even as a younger kid, it was kind of like getting quite serious, and it wasn't as enjoyable as just playing with your mates as it was for me in Florida. So really enjoyed that, and after doing my couple years of high school in Florida, I was able to go to Life University in Atlanta and play rugby there. And whilst I was there, I was fortunate enough to win a couple national championships, which was a lot of fun, and really enjoyed my time in Atlanta. And then when I graduated, I think 2 years before I graduated, the MLR had started, and I thought, sweet, like, kind of just this pathway of rugby where I didn't think there was any rugby in America, so was ready for something new and, to get out of Atlanta, and decided that New England would be the spot that I call home, and it's been home for the last 5 years. So, yeah, really enjoying it.
Brilliant. And there's probably some things that you can't share on camera, but I want to talk a little bit about your college experience in America. I think as a kid growing up in New Zealand, and I'm sure for you in Australia, like you hear about the college scene in America and all the frat parties and the different things that go on. You watch the movies American Pie, Stifler's Mum, one of the great movie series. Like, how did you find the I guess collegiate experience at life? Not just the rugby side of things, but the cultural side as well.
Yeah, I think, look, it was the first time myself and all my mates were living alone, so you have a bit of fun, and you probably get up to some trouble or some mischief. But overall, at life, there wasn't too much trouble. It wasn't like a big, University of Georgia or, a big southern school where there is those frat parties.
Yeah.
But we did have some fun times, I think.
You still found your way to a couple.
Yeah. I'll share a story with you, actually. I think this was 2016 after we had won the national championship. We had flown back to Marietta, Georgia, and we were just like in the apartments that we all lived in on campus, and we're all kind of partying, having a bit of fun, and we're inside someone's house, and out of nowhere I just hear like a screeching tires, and then a crash. I'm like panicked. Like, I thought one of the boys maybe got in the car.
Yeah, right.
What's going on here? Like, who's the idiot that picked up their keys and decided to drive?
Yeah.
Open the front door. People are running from the car. Cops are right behind them, chasing them into the woods.
Oh my.
We're like, what the heck is happening here? Close the doors because we don't want to have anything to do with it. Walk out back, and the cops actually came in and were like looking for these people and thought that we had known them.
Wow.
Because we were still awake and we were hanging out. We had no idea who it was. The cops come in to the back. They say, everyone get into your apartments. We get into our apartment. They come in to search our apartment looking for these kids. They're like, is anyone else in here? And we're panicked. We're like, no. No one else is in here. We didn't realise that my mates had 2 roommates who were on the bowling team. They were fast asleep and had been asleep for a good few hours at this point. And the cops came in and walked into their room, and they're like, who are these guys that you're hiding?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, crap, no. It's just the bowling roommates.
Right.
Relax. Like, you said no one else is in here. And we're like, mate, like, we don't even know those guys. Like, we don't know what you're going on about. So, yeah, good little story for you.
That's brilliant. You were a part of a genuine crime scene at college.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wouldn't know what to do in that situation. I'd lock myself in my bedroom.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we did.
Chuck Netflix on and just absolutely shit my pants.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's great. Like, as you said, it's good you got to still experience those party, even though that's not the whole collegiate thing, but the party side of things. And then the rugby side of things at life, as you said, you won a couple of national titles. Yeah. You're playing with some ex-Free Jacks as well.
Yep.
Talk me through how you found the rugby side of things at college.
No, I really enjoyed it because when I first moved to Florida, like I said, it wasn't taken very serious, and that's where I fell back in love with it again. But I was at a point where I was like, all right, I kind of want to play decent footy again, and I didn't know if that was in America or where that was. And when I got to life, there was quite a few international boys, and it kind of brought the Aussie back out in me. In Florida, I kind of had changed my ways and tried to be very American to fit in and make friends, but was able to be myself again and play good rugby. We had players from Ireland, from South Africa and England, and no other Aussies or no other Kiwis, unfortunately. But really enjoyed my rugby there, and it was good quality rugby. Yeah.
And that's really great to hear about the collegiate, rugby landscape and your experiences there, because I feel like genuinely seeing it over the past year and a half, like college rugby in America is actually growing, and we're seeing better athletes coming through, which is only going to do a world of good for the Eagles, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think what's also exciting is that it's not the same. Like when I was in university, it was the same 3 teams are at the top of the table every year.
Yeah.
We play them in the championship or the semi-final, and now it's Army, Navy, different universities that are climbed to the top and have won national championships, and it's just good to show the players at Army and Navy are all American players, so that's really exciting for the American rugby and for the Eagles, and I'm sure for the USA coaching staff, and and fans as well. So yeah, it's good.
Bodes well for the future. It certainly does, and as we see in the draft this year, we've got some, particularly the Free Jacks, have got some young blood coming through, and you weren't a part of the draft. Were you?
No, thankfully.
Yeah. Let's see if you
grateful.
Thankful that you were a part of the draft. So you were able to, I guess, miss that, and you got to call the Free Jacks home.
Yeah.
How did that sort of play about? Obviously, you got signed before any of that draft stuff happened. So how did that sort of play out for you?
Yeah. So because I was in Atlanta, and Life University is in Atlanta, I had the opportunity to play in Atlanta with the Rugby ATL team, and could have done that, and I think I would have been quite comfortable doing that, and would have been able to stay at my same place and same mates, but I was ready for something new. And when I was in college, I had the opportunity to meet James Willocks and TK, the general manager here, and James, former coach, who was coaching at Dartmouth, and he kind of mentioned to me if I was interested in getting into coaching, and always thought that would be pretty cool, but never really knew when I would get into it. And then he followed up the following year, and that's when the Free Jacks was starting, and I had the opportunity to get into coaching at Dartmouth, which is just 2 hours north of Boston. So was able to kind of do a fall up at Dartmouth and then come down here for the spring and play in the MLR, and then go back up there during the fall and coach, and then come back down for the spring. And I did that for a few years, and I'd say the Dartmouth piece, or being able to coach at a prestigious school, was what got me really excited to come up to New England. So,
and a beautiful campus, Dartmouth too, as I went up there for a rugby camp. Like, I could not believe the cafeteria options that were available at Dartmouth. Like, I would walk in there and you've got Pepsi machines lining one side of the hall, and then the other one's like hot, fresh baked chocolate chip cookies and mac and cheese, which for me, like not being a very nutritional focused human, was an absolute dream. That must have been like pretty surreal to not only, I guess, coach there, but get to experience like the whole campus lifestyle at Dartmouth as well. It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, like Life University, I think it's grown now, and they've got their own cafeteria, and the campus has gotten a lot bigger since I was there. But when I was there, we didn't have those amenities. So to go up to Dartmouth, and one, their rugby facility is world class, but then two, just to be on campus in in the woods of New Hampshire, and to go into the cafeteria myself and experience some of the delicacies.
I like how that's the one thing that I pick out, just the cafeteria.
The chocolate chip
cookies up there to die for.
But no, that was it was good.
No, brilliant. And obviously that was a massive draw card and for you to move from Atlanta. And when the Free Jacks came about, obviously they started off a little bit, I guess, not slower compared to other teams, but they had that Curra Cup season and sort of made their way into the MLR. Where did you come into the fold for the Free Jacks?
So I came in after their Curra Cup season, or exhibition season. So I got here the very first MLR year, which was 2020, which was a 4-game season just because of COVID and everything that kind of happened in 2020. But yeah, that was my first game, was out in Vegas against New York.
What a place to debut. You didn't find yourself at the casinos?
Mate, we were based there for 2 weeks. I found myself at the casino
It's hard
too
to
much.
ignore.
Yeah.
It's on the bucket list, Las Vegas. Like, looks unreal. Probably I could blow my whole life savings there, which are minimal. But obviously, we don't really have any MLR in Vegas at all now, do we?
No MLR in Vegas. Maybe they'll do like a tournament or something. I know that the NRL is doing their tournament out in Vegas next year, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
To open the season, I think there's a few teams that'll be out there. So.
It's a great point. That's actually a very good point. I need to save the extra dollars now and then try and get a ticket. But,
get the podcast going, man.
I know, if the podcast makes a little bit of money, I can fund the trip.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, that's the beauty of America. Like, going a little bit off topic now, obviously, like, there's so many amazing things to do here in America, like different experiences to see, and I think that the cool thing is that each state you go has their own like uniqueness to it.
100%.
I wanted to ask you, because I've definitely got my thoughts. What was the biggest thing you felt you needed to adjust to moving to America? I know you were a little 16-year-old, probably a little bit smaller than you are now, but what was the biggest thing?
There's a lot of things, to be honest, but like in Australia, like everyone's laid back, and I think over here, I don't want to say people are uptight. Like, I don't want to come across as naive or anything like that. Like, it always depends on the person or who you're talking to. But generally in Australia, you can kind of rip into people and, you know, get it back a little bit, or, you know, you're a bit more laid back. Things are more lighthearted, and I think what I noticed over here pretty early on, that like most things slide, but there's certain things you can't be joking about, or you can't say that, or, you know, and geez, I don't want to be saying there were certain words or anything, but just like it was just part of the culture, I think.
It's a family-friendly show.
Yeah, absolutely. So it wasn't specific words, but, you know, I think the Australian language is pretty colourful as it is. So,
yes, as the New Zealand one.
Yeah, so, you know, like, I think coming over here, adjusting to that, and you know, just little things. I think just maybe making sure people realise that you're not being serious all the time. You know?
Yeah, I think it's a great point you make. I remember last year, we have coaches that are obviously from around the world. And the Free Jacks, and that's the cool thing about the MLR, different cultures, different backgrounds. Like, you know, one coach in particular, and probably me as well, like, we've got a few Kiwi and Aussie staff, like, bleeping a few words.
No Aussies, but no
Aussies, just the other side. Bleeping a few words to the boys that they probably aren't too familiar with. And in the team meetings, you just see like the eyes light up and go, "What on earth is this language?" And people at home can probably guess the words that I'm talking about, like swear words that are on the higher end of the chart.
Starts with C.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just crazy, like to see, like, to them, it's like, gee, what is this word? I've never heard it.
Yeah.
But you've got to be careful.
No, it's quite funny, to be honest. I think just the particular coach you're chatting about, I think it's fine to say his name. Old Mikey Rogers, you know, I think I was talking to him about it, and he like quite gets a kick out of it, which is good. I kind of like that he just does it for almost a shock value. But I think there's also a time and place, you know, if it's obviously kids with their parents around, then, you know, not the right place. But I think as long as you're reasonable with where you're saying it, if it's in a team environment with, you know, 30 men, I think you're okay to say it, you know.
No, you're right. It definitely depends on the audience, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I wanted to talk to you about, and I had this slated down as a talking point before our show, driving in America. Now, in New Zealand, I've typically been, you know, a horrendous driver, probably drive like a grandma, you know, 2 hands on the steering wheel, worrying about my surroundings. I've been in, like, I caused a car accident in high school.
Oh, wow.
I drove on my learner's license, a real, you know, bad historical moment for me, a big learning point in my life. You know, drove a car in high school. I was on my learner's license. I went with a mate to the beach, thought I was obviously the king of driving, and like crashed into a parked car. And honestly, I think I was changing like a song on the radio. You know, I might have been a bit of Taylor Swift on. I was wanting to turn it up a little bit. Just crashed into the parked car. So coming over here, like, with already nerves in my belly about driving, like, the amount of cars on the road at all hours, and the pure aggression of American or Massachusetts drivers in general, I could not believe. Like, I'm sitting at a red light, maybe I quickly look over to the left and it turns green for like a millisecond, and I'm getting like honks from all direction, and they're not just like the little beep, like they're like aggressive, like bone crunching honks, like genuinely like get quite scared talking about it.
A little jump in your seat.
A little jump in my seat. Like, how did you adjust to the driving first of all? We're on the other side of the road back home.
Yeah. Well, when I first came over was Florida, so there's no rules down there. Like,
right. Yeah.
People are going. The speed limit is, I think, like 55 or 65 on the highway. If you're not going 80, like, people are getting pissed and completely overtaking you. And this is 80 miles, not 80 kilometers. You know, and then you got like motorcyclists with no helmets on. You've got pickup trucks with people in the back of it, just like cruising down the highway. There's no rules. So I learned similar to you. You know, it was a bit scary at first, but I think you almost have to be aggressive here.
You do.
You got to anticipate that, like, okay, if I turn here, if I go into this right lane, is the person that's 2 cars over, they're going to be merging left into that same lane whilst I am. So you got to make your opportunity when you can, I think. But then definitely the honking at traffic lights as well is a big one as well.
Oh, like, it's a nightmare. Like,
I think that's more of like a northern thing, like New York, Boston. You know, people
patience.
Zero patience for that, and it's not like it is an aggressive honk, but it's like I think anywhere else, like in the world even, like,
Yeah,
or at
yeah.
least in Australia, if you're honking someone like that aggressive, like, be ready to get out of the car and
Yeah,
throw hands.
exactly.
We're like, here, it's like, sorry mate, like, just letting you know the light changed green,
Yeah.
hurry up.
Well, there have been
Yeah.
a couple of times here, probably when I'm a little bit distracted, where like the honks have been accompanied by like a few fingers,
Yeah, yeah.
and like jackass
Yeah,
out the
yeah.
window, which is like shit. It ruins your day. It's
Yeah,
like-
oh mate, you can't let it ruin your day. That's
Yeah.
just a wave here in Boston.
No, exactly. I'm still getting used to it, but I mean the driving was a big one. I think like in the first week here in America, like I had shit to do. Like I had
Yeah.
to get out and run errands and pick up things for TK or whatever. Like, but I was genuinely
Get
like
bed sheets.
yeah, get bed sheets for boys. But I was like actually scared to get behind the wheel. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just when you picked me up earlier, you did your first reverse parking in the van, which
There we go.
was very class to see. Yeah.
Can tick that off the bucket list. But no, it's good. It's good to hear your thoughts on how you adjusted to it. And as I get more guests on the show, there'll be many different things we
Yeah.
can talk about that are different here in America. I wanted to spend a little bit of time now talking about the year that it's been for you. In particular, obviously, we've had great success with the championship.
Yes.
The championship win in the Free Jacks. If you could, I guess, sum that up in short, like last year, we obviously felt that bitter deep end and that disappointment of losing that conference final to New York, which we don't need to talk about and pump the egos up a bit more than New York guys. But we got the chip this year against San Diego, which was super cool. Like, how was that experience for you? The ultimate success.
Yeah, I think it's awesome to kind of get a job done that so many people put so much time and effort and hard work into. And I think it wasn't a 1 year thing. It wasn't maybe even a 2 year thing. I think like since the start of the Free Jacks organization, things have climbed in a positive trajectory, which is good to see. And this past year was the first year that we were able to have both our head coach and assistant coach come back.
Yeah.
We were able to add a new coach with Will Webster, and finally got our base here in Quincy with our finished HQ and gym downstairs. And
It's remarkable.
and I think just all those little pieces, as well as like the 12 Canadians that we picked up this year and some other great players, like I think it was all just building towards another successful season. And I think regardless of who was better or this, that, and the other, I think like we were always going to have a successful season. It was just, can we get the job done after, falling short the year before, and with some other teams that had some really quality players, So I think probably would credit getting the job done to just the love that we all have with one another.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does. It absolutely does. No, I think
The love we have for each other,
no,
not
exactly.
with one another.
Yeah, love
There we go.
individuals as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
No, it does. Like I think it's a great thing the Free Jacks have built here is like a real family vibe, and like obviously on the field, you can definitely tell that every player plays for each other, but I think off the field we have a lot of fun as well, don't we? Like
Absolutely,
the amount
yeah.
of things we do, where it's go-karting or mini team events, like that's
Yeah.
a massive part.
Yeah. I think like the team theming has always been a big part of how the season goes, and to theme it right, and then to have mini team competitions, which is more competitive than.
I had a shambles of that last year with the points.
That's all right. We won. My team won,
Yeah.
so we went back to back actually. So
You
we'll
did.
take that up the militia.
Definitely.
But yeah, no, I think like the mini team competition, like it's more competitive than finding your match 23 or
Yeah.
your starting 15 almost. Like the amount of effort that we go into those competitions, it just kind of drives a bit of camaraderie, and the competitive nature of professional sports. Just highlighted through fun activities, whether it's go-karting or ping pong or bowling or whatever it may be. Yeah, we have a bit of fun.
That's great. And speaking of fun, we did have a lot of fun after we took the shield back here to
Yes.
Quincy. It was quite funny. Like half of the boys got stranded in Chicago due to some traffic delays, which is an ongoing thing in America that does my head in.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I guess half of us made it back to Quincy and back to Boston. What's your best memory? And I say memory probably because you don't have much of those few days. Like, what's your best memory of that whole celebration?
I think honestly it was getting the bus back from the airport with the escort from the Quincy Police Department.
Yes.
And going straight to the fours, and like them giving us, like, putting on a feed for us and giving us unlimited beers for the night. I think like they closed at 10 and we're still outside getting beers at 11 or 12 a.m. So, I think that was probably the best memory coming back, and seeing all of our fans just in the courtyard there celebrating, and I think a few of the police officers went home, got changed out of their uniform, they came back down to join us, and
Mufti cop.
I was like, hold up, weren't you just driving? He's like, yeah. But anyway, I won't say his name, but great cop, that guy, and it was good to just see the fans that had been with us this whole journey from 4 years ago, or maybe this year was their first year supporting us, but to see those loyal fans like just waiting for us to get off the bus with the shield, and I think I got a burger into me because I was starving, which was probably my favourite memory, actually.
Nice. Oh, that was a remarkable way just to see the way the community got around it, the parade, and as you said, people lining the streets, and then obviously the beers, right? The amount of the beers that you have, and like just the camaraderie and the time that you have with the boys at the flats and things like that. A lot of it memories that you probably can't share, but
I think like it's always with the MLR season, the way it times with like the NPC competition in New Zealand, and other guys that might live overseas, and leases on houses or apartments wrapping up a week after guys get back. You only always will get 2-3 days with the boys before it's just like everyone disappears, and it's almost like a ghost town. It's pretty grim, actually, once everyone disperses, and it's just a few guys that are sticking around like yourself, running the ship from here in Quincy. But because you only get a couple of days, everyone, like, it's that love that you have for each other. Like, guys are getting emotional after a few beers because they're like, oh, mate, it's good to see TK unwind a little bit. I think the amount of grey hairs he's probably grown this year, maybe turned black again after winning that championship. So,
No, for sure. Yeah, it was a brilliant memory. I guess now the challenge lies to go back to back, and obviously I don't know too much about next year and how it shapes up, but I think to have consistency and retain a lot of boys will be key, keep that vibe going.
100%. I think we had a really good crew last year, and to keep that same crew would be awesome. Obviously guys might get picked up for higher honours and better opportunities for them, and they should absolutely take that. But if we're able to keep guys around and to roll with the camaraderie, I think it'll be special, so.
No, for sure. It's brilliant. But before we move on to another topic, I wanted to get your thoughts on when I was in New Zealand, but before coming to America for this opportunity, the MLR, or the American rugby scene, sort of had the stigma of it was a bit of a holiday competition, like boys started to leave club rugby in Dunedin, where I'm from, and come over here, and people saw the competition as a little bit of a holiday, but like genuinely coming over here, for the past 2 years, it's actually a very well fleshed out professional competition, and guys like Sam Fishley or Slade McDowell are now able to actually live like 12-month professional careers. Talk to me about the competition and the experience here. Like, the players are very well looked after, and I know that's going to get better and better as years go on.
I think, look, at the early years of the MLR, like as any professional competition, especially in a country where rugby's not their first sport, it's going to be a bit shaky. So I think I think you probably have mates that came over that they're like, wait, he got a contract over there, and I think initially as well, like the quality of the rugby wasn't nearly as good as what it is now. The last 2 years in particular, it's certainly gotten a lot better. It's good that new teams are entering, and it's just gonna, I think, just continue to grow and get better, and I think franchises are stepping up their standards, whether it's their facilities or the quality of players that they're bringing in, or the coaches that they're bringing in, and I always have seen it as like a good stepping stone for players to be able to do rugby year round, or for guys that maybe want to progress and go somewhere else. It's a good stepping stone, or for guys that have played good quality rugby but want to maybe experience America, and I think everyone in the world is like pretty happy to maybe experience America. You watch the American culture on TV and movies growing up, so to kind of be able to take part in that would be pretty awesome, I think.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Obviously, with the World Cup coming to America in 2033, which seems like it's 31 and 33 for the men's and women's. Get that right, Wheelsy. Now's the time really, to put those hard yards in and make this thing huge.
Yeah, 100%. I think hopefully by 2031, it'll be a bit more of a mainstream sport. Like even since when I first moved over here, like as a 16-year-old, I played high school rugby and. The players that were on the team had all played for maybe a year, 2 years at most.
Yeah.
Maybe if one of them had like a British parent, then they had played since they were 12. But it wasn't ever something that they took serious, And now just even with the Free Jacks Academy stuff, I might meet a young kid and, or I might meet a teenager and hey, how long have you been playing for? And he's like, since I was 6.
Yeah.
And they've actually got good skills and they understand the game. And, so I think by the time that 2031 comes around, those teenagers will be young 20-year-olds and hopefully having a go at the World Cup. So I think if we can keep growing that grassroots level, and I think the MLR is doing a great job of that now by having players interact with community, something that you do a great job of, Wheelsy, and that will just continue to grow the overall level of the American game.
No, it's great words. Completely agree. It's super exciting, and the opportunity is there, as you said. So, before we move on and find out a little bit more personal stuff, what makes Mitch Wilson, wrapping up the rugby side of things, which we love, God's game, rugby union. What are your goals in rugby like? Obviously, the past 2 years for you have been really successful, and you've been able to represent your country of home now, which is America. What's next for you? Like, what are your immediate goals and long-term goals in footy?
Yeah, I think like growing up, so as soon as I moved to America, like the goal was to be able to play for the United States, and that came true last year, being able to debut, and was super grateful for that opportunity. And now I think for me, it's just continuing to play at a level where I can play for the USA.
Yeah.
I think it's still a goal of mine to play in a World Cup. Fell
maybe in Aussie 2027.
Yeah, fell short last year in the repechage. But if I'm still able to kick it around in 4 years, like that'd be awesome. But for now, it's really just to play at a standard that I know I'm capable of playing at, and reaching that for each game, and then just to continue to enjoy it. I think, like you said, people might come over as a holiday, but, it's not a holiday, but you want to enjoy your rugby, and as long as I'm enjoying it and enjoying the environment that I'm in, and, enjoying going on tours and playing against quality competition and just the team environment, I think that's important for me.
Yeah.
If I don't continue to enjoy it, then I'll probably have to hang the boots, and I think I'll always love the game, but I think you come to a point where you're like, all right, I need to maybe get a real job now, or, figure my life out. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And what interests you, like, on that topic? Like, what's, I guess, your passion off the field, like, once you do hang up the boots, which is hopefully still a wee while away? Like, is there any, I guess, career pathway that sparks an interest for you?
Yeah, there's a few things that, like, spark interest. Obviously, like, I've gotten involved in some coaching, so I was formerly coaching at Dartmouth, and now just accepted a role at Harvard, and we got our first game this weekend, Dartmouth v Harvard, so it'll be a bit of rivalry.
It's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, a bit of rivalry.
The old stomping ground.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I'm always open to the idea of getting into coaching, and then, like, sports tech is something that's excited me. My dad was in smart homes and, the tech side of things. Not that I ever wanted to get into that, but I think, sports tech and technology is a little bit untouched in sports, or it is touched, but I think you see, like, certain things, like even the Whoop straps that people track their health data with, or it's maybe the GPS units that people are using to track. I think it'd be cool to get into that field as well. So don't have any great ideas, but if any,
we'll collaborate.
Yeah, if any listeners want to sponsor me, or investors have some great ideas, let's link up.
Mitchy Wilson's your man. But I think it's a great path to explore. Like, I think every athlete out there now has one of those massage guns, or the thermo guns, and then obviously they've got those big. I tried it the other day for the first time, the Normatex, nicknamed the Normans, the big marshmallow things that you put around your legs, and like they worked wonders.
Yeah, no, they're good.
20 minutes on those things, I was running around like a 15-year-old again. It's brilliant.
You're doing so many ads today, man. You get some sponsorships
I know,
for the
I'd
show.
better get sponsorship on this.
No, but 100%. Even just like I know, like I'll say they stole my idea, but I didn't even have the idea yet. But I've got like the new Gilbert balls, and they've got the I think the trackers that they're now putting in the balls and stuff, and for maybe like the fan engagement side of things, like it'd be pretty cool to get into that. I'm not, again, if there's anyone that's got any great ideas that wants to collab, then I'll be your man, but I'm still trying to figure out an idea.
That's brilliant. I remember actually talking to this about you the other day in the car. Like, I think one of the greatest sports tech inventions is when you go to like a test match. For example, they have them in England, and they're the little headpieces that you put on your ears, and you can listen to the commentary.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant. A great invention. If we could get that for rugby here, maybe.
Imagine being in the World Cup final, 2031, Thomas Grant in the commentary box.
Oh.
Headphones on, wireless though.
Yeah.
Because 2031.
No, exactly, yeah.
That'd be a great shot, I reckon.
That would be huge. It would either bring joy to people's ears or absolute pain.
No, I think they'd love it, mate.
No, it would be good. That is the dream, mate.
In Vegas.
In Vegas, absolutely. Or all that, what is that one in LA? SoFi.
SoFi, yeah.
Oh, that looks like a metropolis.
Yeah.
But there's probably going to be about 6 or 7 other stadiums built by then. So.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. No, it's great. The venues here in America are remarkable. That's brilliant to, I guess, see outside of footy, even though like coaching's still down the sports pathway, but the tech stuff's good as well.
Yeah.
And I guess super important, like, that you have a plan B, because when you hang up the boots, as you'll probably know, like it's all going to hit you pretty quickly, that you've got to have something in the pipeline.
100%, yeah. No, I definitely agree. And even for now, like, have a wee side hustle that I guess I'll mention is like selling like the vintage clothing and stuff. So got my Depop and, post.
Do you have an Instagram for that or a Facebook?
Nah, I've honestly like kept it's so there's an app called Depop.
Okay.
Another ad. No, it's not an ad, but it's an app called Depop which you can buy and sell clothing, and I both buy and sell vintage tees on that. Or
look at this guy coming on my podcast trying to sell a vintage kit.
This is the first time I've actually mentioned it in public.
Wow.
I think I did one story post a while back.
It's a Words with Wheelsy exclusive, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so I actually haven't built the courage to drop the link into my Instagram bio yet, but maybe I'll get that happening soon.
Brilliant. Mitchy, items that you cannot live without. We're going to put Mitchy Wilson to the test now. We've heard, and thank you very much for sharing a little bit about your story, your upbringing, your American experiences, and I'm sure there's plenty more to tell. We're going to put a little bit of trivia on you and dig deep, see if we can get under that little the shells, the Penrith Panthers jersey. What are some particular items that you genuinely cannot live without? It could be food or a particular deodorant, your Lynx Africa.
Oh, that's actually a great shout, to be honest. A deodorant that I can't live without. So I'm not like a sweaty person or anything like that, but I try to avoid the aluminium or the aluminum in the deodorants. Mate. So I've got like, it's the most basic deodorant, like probably the cheapest one. It's Arm & Hammer.
Okay.
Like natural or something, and
just a roll on.
No, it's just a roll on. Yeah, but like if you're a sweaty like I don't take my recommendation. This is just what I use.
Nice, yeah.
But I struggled to find that whilst I was overseas because they didn't have it. I ran out of deodorant, and I was going to, I think, like the Nivea men's sport. Yeah. And just wasn't the one.
What scares you off the cans? Out of interest.
I don't know, man. I'd like.
Just like the chemicals.
Yeah, put the tin hat on, man. I think it's a few chemicals that they put in there, and
you're the
too
guy
close to your manly parts, man.
Yeah. You're not one of those people that thought COVID was microchips, so the Tin Man guy.
Oh, we won't go into it, man. Don't ask me what you think COVID was.
No, that's a whole nother topic. No, it's a great one. Deodorant.
Yeah. Just a safe deodorant. A meal that I love that I try to get as like a pre-game meal typically would be like a chicken parmesan.
Wow.
Marinara. Yeah. So like a bit different to like the Kiwi and Aussie, like chicken parm with like chips,
Or mince pie.
Yeah,
and
like
can of V.
Yeah, like I'd prefer like a chicken snitty, but they don't do them over here, you know. And so I'd go to like either an Italian restaurant or my lovely girlfriend who's quite the chef. She can do it for me as a pre-game meal.
Nice.
But sometimes when I'm on the road, like in Romania, I'm like trying to find like chicken parmesan. Just got steaks everywhere, you know, beef and stuff. So
what's your go-to if you had? Obviously, you said your partner Rachel is the whiz in the kitchen.
Yeah.
What's your go-to fry up? Have you got anything that you back yourself? It's your signature dish.
Mine are breakfasts. So like I'll like put together like potatoes, bacon, eggs.
Wow.
Sausage, you know, like you want some avo toast, that's me, like
all stuff that's pre-cooked at the store.
No, no, like I'll do a proper spread, but just like I think I'm a big breakfast guy. Like it might be if I've slept in, or you know, if I've been a bit lazy in the morning, or I'm not hungry, you know, and say that lunchtime rolls around, like I'm cooking breakfast at lunch. Like I'm not gonna go straight into a sandwich. Like I'm making breakfast. Like we're not missing that.
They call it brunch here, right? Like kind of like brunch in America is a huge thing.
I think so. Yeah, I got into I think during COVID we ended up just like you'd be making meal, like, you know, when you're sitting at home doing nothing all day, like probably not the best, but it could be 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm making my first meal of the day, you know.
Yeah.
So I just got to the point where I just call it meal 1.
Nice.
Meal 2.
Meal 1.
Meal 3. Get 3 meals a day, man. Maintain weight.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, there you go. Mitchy's got a signature dish, but the chicken parm is a delicious option.
Yeah. I think like carbs, bit of tasty, with, you know, breaded chicken. You know, it's a bit of mozzarella cheese, good stuff.
Have you got before we start to wrap things up, have you got like a little New England gem that you frequent? It could be for coffee. Obviously, we talked about Dunkin', but maybe food.
Not for like I guess like I went to like Chow Roma a few times with their chicken parm. I quite like it there. You know, the Fours is a great spot. You know, local.
Great pub.
Get down there. Quite enjoy Liberty Tavern as well. I do a good pizza down there, and I've got way too many spots actually.
You've got options. Eh? You know when you're going down.
So one great pho.
There we go.
Pho, if you call it that.
Yeah. You know when you're going down the line of talking about chicken parm for 5 minutes that it's time to wrap up the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. It has been a fantastic privilege to have you on the show, Mitchy. It's so good to be back in front of the microphone. Hopefully people enjoy the content. There'll be more to come. We have 2 large Dunkins that need polished off. They're pretty condensated now. There's liquid dripping down the sides of them.
Yeah, you need to get coasters, man.
Yeah, I know. Coasters could be the episode 27 improvement. I'll talk to producer Bucks to see what the budget of the show's looking like. But Mitchy, I'll give you your frosted donut. I'll let you have one since you've done great on the show. That's your appearance fee for coming on Words with Wheelsy. Thanks very much, mate. Handshake.
Here, mate, before we shake the hand, I've actually got something for you.
Oh, wow. A reverse.
Yeah, the reverse. Probably a big fan of the Words with Wheels podcast. WWW is the Joseph Ling. He's given me the NASA SWAT tee to give to you. So,
mate, that's fantastic.
Here you go, mate.
Thanks very much, Joey Ling. I know what I'm wearing to Saudi tomorrow night, so I really appreciate it. Awesome. How good?
Yeah, how good. All right, mate, let's shake it in.
Brilliant.
Cheers, Wheelsy.
Here we go.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks to producer Bucks, ladies and gentlemen. Words with Wheelsy. It's back in action. It's back in your earlobes, and it's not going anywhere. We'll see you very soon, ladies and gentlemen.